All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this morning as we look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of as we close out the week. So, without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. If everybody can hear me loud and clear. If you're with me this morning, ready for the weekend, drop me a one in the chat. Let me know. Joyce said, ready. All right. All right. It's Friday, everybody. So let's make sure that we close out the week taking massive action, accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome. Let's center ourselves in body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading. Let's trust in our education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Let's imagine our trade successfully materializing, obeying our trade strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed and fear. And we are never to look back or stop once our trade idea has commenced. So if we're ready to take massive action this morning, let's go. Let's log out of here, move on over, right? Take a look at what's going on today in the market. So Friday, June 7th, we have employment data coming out for Canada. That is important. As we know that they recently cut rates, and there's the possibility of more rates to come. So these numbers matter, right? So when central banks are being data dependent, we want to make sure that we pay attention to the key fundamental factors, right? Employment data is one of those factors. So we've got employment data coming in for Canada. In the United States, it's non-farm payroll. So if you're out there, you're looking at your charts and you've seen how the market with a lot of pairs that's been kind of moving sideways, slowly moving along, not a ton of volatility with some of the assets. Is because, right, we had major rate decisions this week from multiple central banks, and we know that first Friday of the month, we've got non-farm payroll, which is a huge report for the United States, and the whole world tunes in to see those numbers. So we've got U.S. average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate as well. So, and then we also have at 12 o'clock, FOMC member speaking. So if we go over to trading economics here, it says U.S. job growth seen relatively steady. The U.S. economy is set to add 185,000 jobs in May, slightly higher than 175,000 jobs in April, partially helped by a rebound in government hiring. What else do we see? The unemployment rate is expected to remain steady at 3.9%, holding at two-year highs. Also, wages likely rose 0.3% month over month, a small uptick from 0.2% seen in April, but the yearly gain is seen unchanged at 3.9%, the lowest since June 2021. May figures are expected to continue to point to a strong, albeit cooling labor market. The average monthly payroll growth for this year has been 246,000. So we'll see how accurate this report is this morning, right? And so a lot of things, right? We got the 25-point basis cut out of the ECB as expected. And also as expected, we heard the rhetoric, right, from President Lagarde as staying data dependent moving forward. Okay, so we'll see on that. So we were wondering, hey, do we see an initial, potentially initial drop? Is the 25 basis point cut? How much is it already priced in? Do we see a rally from the euro afterwards? Like as we move into next week, we will see. But we didn't see a lot of drop off, which tells us that 25 basis points was well priced in for the ECB. So still a lot of back and forth on that euro USD. So hopefully we see some movement either way out of that today. So yeah, lots going on. Let me see here, make sure everybody has control over their mics. So that's a lot's going on today. It's a big day. it's been a busy week. So hopefully, right, we start to see a lot of the volatility kick back in starting next week, right? A lot of times when you have a lot of data coming out, things are kind of on hold in regards to good, strong price action until investors are able to get their heads wrapped around and interpret all of the fundamental data for a week like this. Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, bro. I am doing well, man. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. It's Friday. You know how I get with
Yes,
these
sir.
Fridays.
These weeks are
It's
flying, man.
it is. The weeks are flying. Kids get out of school today, so they are excited. They have a half day, so the summer officially begins for them at least. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah.
Uh,
Anything out there, man, you've been watching?
no, nothing that you didn't cover, bro. That's
All
pretty
right.
much it for right now.
All right. Well, hey, I have a few things I want to go over, everybody. As far as some pairs, these New Zealand dollar pairs. Feel like there's some uh, potential reversals on the horizon. I want to take a look at that. And then after that, it's all you guys because I don't have a ton because we've got non-farm payroll today. Like I said, it's been a busy week with key fundamentals, right? It's always a busy week as far as fundamentals, but we had some major fundamental data with rate cuts and things like that this week to end it all with non-farm and unemployment numbers and employment numbers from the US and Canada. So let me see here. Okay. So let's jump out of here and go to the charts. Looking at the DXY, we're pretty much flat ahead of non-farm. Okay. So let's see if we get any type of surprises there. We're holding at that, what is that, 103.94 around that level. Is the most recent support. So 104 and some change is where price is now. So we'll see what happens at 8:30. So that's it on the DXY. I want to look at these New Zealand dollar crosses, right? Because we know we saw some strength come out of the New Zealand dollar. It's caused a major correction, but I think it may be bottoming out right now, right? So if we go over, we take a look at trading economics, we look at some data on the New Zealand dollar, we can see here domestically, the country's relatively high interest rates have continued to provide sustained support to the Kiwi despite a weakening economy, right? Okay. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand is expected to maintain stable policy until at least mid 2025 for uh, to allow for a thorough data assessment. Okay, so looking at holding rates but not raising rates either, and then we do have a weakening economy, right? And so I'm interested to see what happens with non-farm payroll today. We know we're starting to see some cooling with the U.S. market, and I want to see, right? We know this is a commodity currency. I have to look up some more information on China, things like that. But I feel like this is pushed down quite a bit, and some things may start to reverse, right? So when I look at, right, at least in the short term, we'll see if it becomes a long-term thing. But we've got this major correction, and we can see here now on this Aussie NZD, okay, where we are starting to put in a low. Okay, so this market closes out today, barring any type of disaster, right? This is going to be that second candle right to the right, and this is going to be a daily support. Okay. So just trying to get some ideas as really at least for me, my trading month really begins after this week because we've had so much data this week. It's kind of tied the market up a bit. Um, but this will be a low, right? So this confirms as a low, right? So if I move this down, right? And we have a swing low here, right? Do we work our way back up to 108.09, right? So do we push long? from here, right? So and we start to rally from this point. So if you come down to, you can see the 4, right, where this is starting to reverse out. So my question is right, do we start to see, right, we get a pullback, right, and then maybe a continuation up and through. Okay. All right. And so we already see here where this is tapped into this 118 level, and it is starting to move. Okay. So what we want to keep an eye on going into next week is, do we get this price to move down, right, with that confirmed daily low? And then do we continue to push long? Okay. So we want to watch out for that on the Aussie New Zealand. Any questions on that?
No,
No?
sir.
Joy Gold did make that drop after it completed that ABCD wave that we called out yesterday. It hit that D extension and collapsed. All right. So it made the move up, and then it just man picked up quick to the downside. So that was a good play to the upside, but then it just collapsed. Yep. So we'll see if we can take a look at that. So that's the Aussie NZD. Moving down to the Euro NZD. All right. So you can see here where we've got a really, really nice move to the downside, but you can see where this is starting to settle. My stochastic has moved back into the buy zone, right? So we don't have an official swing low here yet, right? But you can see how this is starting to recover. You see the huge wick there on the daily candle from the previous day. Right now, we're starting to move bullish again, right? So kind of thinking about that narrative of, hey, the 25 basis points was priced in. If President Lagarde comes out and says, hey, we're going to stay data dependent and no guaranteed projections on future rate cuts this year, does the euro start to rally, right? So I've got that in the back of my mind. We seem to be starting to find support. So what I'm watching out for on this 4 hour here is, do we get a breakout? Right? Do we get a breakout from this level? Okay, so just some things to think about. All right, do we finish out? Do we reverse out, break trend line, get above these 2 daily support levels, and then continue to make ABCD waves from that point? Okay, so just starting to build out that framework, looking ahead. Right, one of the things that you'll notice when you use the fib sequence and you follow all the pairs, is that the baskets tend to move, right, in a similar fashion, right? So it's like it, one week it might be the Aussies, the next week it might be the New Zealands. Week after that, it might be it may be time for the cats to move in a certain direction, right? The cat crosses. So these are the tendencies and the patterns that we find. Just like a few weeks ago, we saw the yens, right? Put in that price action pattern, and then everything went bullish, continued bullish against the yen after the BOJ intervention, right? So this is how you can gain a lot of pips, right? If it goes your way, right? If my thought is correct on this. Okay, so this could be an ABCD wave. If we get through, right, we're already breaking through 175.99, 176.24 is a daily level. Can we get to that 176.84 and then maybe continue on from there, right? So here we are on the 1 on this Euro NZD, right? Is it time for it to get going, right? Back to the upside, right? So that one there, a smaller wave, but we're reversing, right? So these 2 candles, these 2 fibs here are equivalent, right, to that 1-4, like that. Okay, moving up. So do we get that continuation? Any questions on that Euro NZD, right? Starting to watch these closely, as at some point, what goes down must go up and vice versa.
Benny.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you go back on a daily?
Yes. Yep.
And would you consider that a morning star?
Right here.
Yeah.
It's depending on how we close out in a weird type of way, because that's a huge indecision candle, right? But technically it is, right? Yep, could be. So let's see if we get a nice full bullish candle there. But yes, right? Because you
Okay.
got decision, indecision, decision. Yep, great question. And so the key is to see if we can break above these levels, get above them. But yes, we're starting to see that low start to form. And let's see how this daily candle closes out. But yes, I like that observation, Jeremy, for sure. So let's see how it goes. All right. That's that. Let's move on, right? So the key is really, can we get above that 176.24, right? Because then do we retest and then just continue up for a little while? All right. So that's the Euro NZD, pound NZD. So I'm paying attention to these because they're just hitting key levels, right? Nice daily levels. You see how it's starting to try to find some support. So again, Jeremy, similar, right? So look how we're starting to find support at this level. Right? So do we continue, right? We've got some things. All we do is start to forecast a bit, right? Price seems to be settling in at this 206.15 daily level. We've got a daily stochastic that's made us run back into the sell zone, right? Can we get and break above this 207 level and continue, right? And continue, right? Or do we hold there? We'll see. But right now, in the short term, we've got price moving to the upside. So we've got a bit of a range here. Okay. So we can see past support, right? Becoming future resistance potentially. So can we break out above 207? Okay. Okay. And then we may be looking for a continuation. So here we are on the one on this pound New Zealand. See? Do we hold, right? You can see how it struggled at this 206 level. Okay. So do we get a breakout and a continuation? Okay. Can the buyers sustain the momentum? Okay. Questions on the pound New Zealand?
No, sir.
No.
All right. It's early. We got time, right? Let things play out. Right. Just looking at strictly at the support and resistance on these, since we've got this consolidation and we're coming into these key higher time frame levels, right? So it's just the beginning, you know, of these other currencies putting in a rally against the New Zealand dollar. All right. We shall see. The verdict's still out, but just want to get everybody's eyes on it. Moving in, taking a look at the NZD CAD. We know we're bullish, right? But we know we do what? We break levels, we score points, and we pull back, right? So if we look at how this price action is moving, we just broke a level, we scored a point. Do we pull back? Okay, so we can see that. Remember this breakout, right? That's why you always see me draw rectangles, right? When I see that consolidation, you see the breakout. It just accelerated from there. Okay, so we've got a new AB boundary. But here on the one, okay, is why I'm trying to put the pieces to the puzzle together, is do we start, right? Do we see the New Zealand dollar get corrective, right? Which will drive those other currencies up and cause some relief, right? For a pair like the NZD CAD, because we're starting to stall out here now, right? So this is a potential 80-20 on this NZD CAD back to the downside. Okay. Now, over the long term, we may continue bullish, right? But we know that price loves to make an impulsive move in a particular direction, then it takes a breather, right? So the question is right now, after the run that is made, is it time for the New Zealand dollar to take a bit of a breather? Okay, so that's the NZD CAD. See what happens going into next week. we might see some crazy reaction with the non-form depending on what happens. All right. Any questions on that? No.
No.
No, sir.
All right. All right. Good, good, good. So, NZD Swissy. So this one, right? We see we're starting to get that pullback, right? So this one is kind of already on its way, but I wanted to review it. Right. So here we are. This is an 80-20 that's playing out to the downside. See? So you can see the pattern and flow, right? So now we're looking at the New Zealand dollar as the base currency in the pair, whereas the first ones we went over, the New Zealand dollar was the counter currency, right? So you see the potential for the pairs where the New Zealand dollar was the counter currency, the potential for those to move up. And you see the pairs where the New Zealand dollar is the base currency, you see the potential and for these to move down, right? So it's just tracking the patterns, right? Coming into the 4 hour sweet spot. Our fibs are different. Yeah.
Where your fib at? I ain't got that one.
Off this low, like where am I running it? Running from way back, right? Running from way back. Yeah.
Oh, you did it all.
Yeah.
I can't see that.
Went back off the
52.80.
low. Mm-hmm.
Mine's is off 52.98. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Our fibs is different.
Oh, yeah, because I've been tracking this one from this last ABCD wave, right? That worked out pretty good. And then I've got this move down here on the fib. Mm-hmm. Yep. So looking for this one to continue to turn over and move down, right? So we've got further potential, right, for a bearish move. So let's see how that finishes out. Now down the road, right, it may eventually, right, continue to get long, but for right now, this is the move that's occurring. Any questions on that?
No, sir.
All right. You found it? All right. NZDJPY. Okay. So we can see, right? It's made a nice run to the upside. Now you see how we're kind of turning over here. So when it come down to the 4, right, we've been sitting on this setup just watching. Right? It's ranging. Do we get a move down from here? Okay, so that's just below the 118, 127 zone, but you can see how we're just stuck and stalling at this 96.74. Right. So this one may take a little while, may push up higher, but because it's against the yen, right? So we know everything's been pretty much back and forth with the yen beating it up. Then they step in, the BOJ, they ramp up the rhetoric, right? It caused a bit of a correction. They actually intervened before. So, but this is kind of holding and stalling. So we want to continue to keep an eye on that one. All right. So those are the NZD pairs that I wanted to go over and cover, just for everybody to keep an eye on as we look to close out the week to see if we can actually pick up some pips from some of these pairs. All right. Any questions on any of those New Zealand pairs that I covered? Nope. All right. So let's go down and take a look at the that gold markup that we had from yesterday on the 5, where we can see that the ABCD wave played out. It got bullish, right? So we had this zone here, right? It held, pushed to the D extension, and then we just collapsed. right? On the 5 minute at least, on the 5 minute play, right? So you sold off ahead of non-farm. And so ABCD wave came through clean, then we collapsed, right? Volatile on the 5. Here we are on the 4, right? We're getting this move down, right? So that crown type action, right? That one of our team members called out, we went a little higher than that left tip, right? But we actually made the move back down, right? Not too much after that, right? So we are getting the move back down ahead of the data, ahead of the data. So let's see what happens once the non-farm payroll data comes out. This is a decent sell-off before it too. Goodness. That's what's going on with this? Non-farm payrolls. We are also set for weekly gain. First weekly gain in 3. It's the most recent stew of labor. Market bolstered twice. Meanwhile, the ECB reduced interest rates as expected on Thursday, but signaled that it is not eager to deliver more cuts soon, while simultaneously adjusting inflation for higher. S-word Perth Mint reported May gold sales dropped to its lowest since March, while Poland recently added 5 tons of its gold reserves to its gold reserves and plans further increases. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with the non-farm and how gold reacts, which oftentimes you do get a reaction, but right now ahead of it, it's selling off. All right, so let's see where it settles down at. So 5-minute ABCD play yesterday worked out, selling off ahead of the major fundamental data this morning. Any questions on gold?
No, sir.
All right, and said on the NAS 100 on the 5-minute, we've got to play. So let's see what's going on. I got the 5. Oh, yeah, right. So we've got this 80-20 plan out to the downside. So starting to creep its way down, but just keep in mind, right around the corner at 8:30, we got major data coming out. Okay. So keep that in mind too, right? As this is why even on the 5-minute is moving down now, but it's pretty much moving sideways because of what's going on at 8:30 today. All right. So I appreciate you calling that one out. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens on this. Okay. 5-minute chart. We know it can get super volatile for sure. It's not like you're trading on the 4 or even the 1. This is a 5-minute chart with major data coming up. Okay, so we'll see which way the price action gets pushed. All right. Are you in that right now, Ann? Or you're trading it right now, or you're waiting to see what's going on? You're in it. All right. All right. All right. So you got your risk calculated. So just manage your trade. That's the NAS. Appreciate it. All right. All right. What else do we have? Any other pairs we want to take a look at? I don't have much. I'm waiting for this last major data of the week to come out. I'll make my moves from there. Pound Aussie. Okay. So we're still kind of ranging. We need a breakout. And said she's watching it like a hawk. For sure. For sure you do. You should definitely see some sort of reaction. So we're ranging, right? So we broke out of this range here at the low. Nice bullish candle. Right. Now we're range bound again. We need another breakout. Okay. Okay. So just waiting for price to break out. Pretty much. We know we have been planning to the upside, which is still climbing. Right. Our stochastic is in the buy zone so that we continue long. Right. So it's just pausing right now, accumulating. See which way we go. See if the non-farm has an impact on that. Okay. Sometimes you can have a lot of fireworks, right? Sometimes it's just right on point and the market barely moves depending on, how far above or below forecast the report comes in at. Okay. So this one has been a mess, really. But we started to gain some more upward momentum. It's just a matter of whether or not we want to continue. Any questions on that? So it's ranging again. All right. We need a breakout.
Nope.
All
No
right.
questions there.
Tyrone, natural gas. I don't even have a chart for that, but I can what's the let's see. Oops. Let's put up a new workspace. Right. What's the do we have it on here?
Yep,
Yeah,
it's N gas.
yeah, there we go. I saw it in the chat. You put it in there for the simple. I appreciate it. So
No worries.
let's do it. Let's do it. Yes. And start at the top. Monthly. Definitely bullish, right? What do we look like for the year on it for nat gas? All right. So let's look at the monthly. And we will try some layouts. We'll do a daily chart. For Tyrone, what time frame do you like to trade on?
Yeah, so I have the 1 month as the first one. I have
Okay.
the 1 day, the 4 hours, and of course I have the 1 hour, the 4 hours, 1 day. The usual, the usual.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So let's mark this thing up, right? So we definitely have a bullish move. It's going on now. So follow the routine, right? Doesn't matter the asset class, follow the same routine to get the chart set up. Here. There we go. Man, I appreciate you bringing this one up. This is coming off some decent lows. So there. Okay. Gonna mark our monthly in black, like so. And we can take this down to the weekly. Make this blue. so. Now I am going to, I could do it on a daily, but I'll put it on the weekly because unless we get a major push to take out this high before the week closes, this is going to be a new weekly high. So, all right, and just this one a little bit. So we'll take these out. And we will link these down to the daily. Zoom out. And let's put some daily levels in. Let's just put in a nice low. So we're definitely looking bullish on that, guys. I'll throw this one in just for good measure. Down. So let me finish setting this up. So this is definitely looking long. All right, look at our daily stochastic. We put in a nice low, so we want to look to continue bullish. Where are we in relation to the fib? That's right at a 50% in the daily support. Let's go get it. All right. So let me mark out this low and start to work it. This. And we'll put this long-term target in here. Extension. And right. So like this. Bullish. So this is our daily. Yeah. 618. Extension. That's our 4-hour chart. It's a beautiful price action off this one. My goodness. See what we got on our 1-hour wave. Okay. So we got a deep correction. So we eliminate these. This. It's like so. So on this 1-hour, our near-term extension is here. That. And then It's in here. Our 4 hour. Make sense? Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So there we are. I appreciate you calling that one out. That's some good price action. And man, it's really nice. It's running right now. You have I guess we can let's take a what's the read on it? It's natural gas. Yeah, bigger than expected short. Uh-oh. All right. So we got a shortage. Latest report. Prices have risen over 7% this week due to the recent drop in output and forecast for higher than normal weather later June. Gas output averaged 98 billion cubic feet per day in early June, down from 98.1 in May, with the preliminary data low of 96.3 on Thursday. Overall, U.S. gas production is down, right? So we got high demand, less output, bullish for sure. Right? So keep an eye on that gas. That's a nice one. I like that. All right, so let's see what we can do. But that's definitely right. So, like we always say, it doesn't matter the asset class, right? Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's indices, right? That's the beauty of what we do, right? Doesn't matter. You actually had an 80-20 on the 4 hour chart. Right? See that swing? That's an 80-20 zone. Right? So this one gave you everything. So if you're grading that trade here, okay. If you're grading that trade and use additional confirmations, yeah, everything, right? You had right, your stochastic, it's in the buy zone, you got a key fib level, right? Price action restart buy zone on the fib, you got a higher time frame support level right there in the same zone, and you got a trend line break. So if you're grading your trade, you meet all those confirmations, right? You take that any day of the week, win, lose, or draw. All right, so price above the cloud, 200 simple moving average. So let's drop that on there. Rolling, right? Rolling. So if and if you use a cloud breakout, right? So what you do is everything is meeting your criteria. You're just being conservative and you're waiting for price to break out. Can you make a lot of money doing that? Absolutely, you can. Right? Waiting on cloud breakouts. Right? You say, hey, I love to see it hit the buy zone, but hey, we all know, right? Where, for example, if we traded cloud breakouts, what was that? I took a loss on the Euro Swiss, right? Where it got stopped out like 216 pips. Technically, with a cloud break, right? You're taking a trade later, but that's still a good push, right? That's still a good push. If it heads to the D extension from there, right? So you're taking a trade later using additional confirmation with the cloud, but that's still a great gain, right? So, for example, with that Euro Sushi trade, if I would have waited on the cloud break and used that as confirmation, then I never would have been in that trade because it never broke cloud. It just continued down and went through the stop. Right? Hope that makes sense. Right, to everybody. Right. So can you trade like that? Hey, I want to wait for price to reach my buy zone, but then I'll only trade it once it breaks cloud to the upside. But then you're not going to put your stop below the A, right? You'll probably put it below the cloud or below your C point somewhere, right? However you work your risk out. But if you wanna wait for the swings and then for it to break the cloud, because this is our push zone, right? So this is our retracement zone, and then this is our up push zone. So if you want to wait for a cloud break to take from here instead of here, right? That's fine too. You just have to wait a little bit longer, right? But if psychologically you feel more comfortable saying, I want to see a cloud break, right? Like Jeremy mentioned, the 200 moving average is above the 200, is above your 52, is prices your Tinkerson and your Keegerson. You see how price is above, right? You see how we've got our lag. It's hard to see with the way I have mine set up, but you can see here with the here, let me bring this up. So with my Chico span, which is here, we'll end up a little bit. You can see how that's breaking above the cloud now. It's above price, right? So your lagging span, 26 periods behind, is above price, meaning it's above the candles, not below the candles like here, right? So we've got everything coming into alignment now, and now price is breaking out. So if this is your point of entry, that's fine too, right? So maybe you put your stop below the cloud, and then you're saying, hey, I'm going to take it to the extension. So that's how you can combine your fibs and your cloud, right? To make it all work. So, hey, this is in the middle of a retracement. No worries. If it keeps going down, that's fine. But if it reverses and break my cloud, I'm buying, right? I'm buying. So your setup may be stop below the cloud, like so, right? Somewhere below my cloud, if not below the low, right? Because that's close right there. So however you play it, right? And I'm going to get out here. So maybe, right? And then maybe you say, when it breaks above the cloud, I would prefer that my stochastic be in the buy zone. Maybe, maybe not, depending on how you play it, how conservative you want to be, right? With the entry. But we've got it, a breakout now. So maybe my setup looks like this. And then I'm just going to take it the rest of the way. So maybe that's how I want to play it, right? Like that. Maybe that's how I do it, okay? You're not playing with as great as a risk to reward, but it's still a decent setup nonetheless. Like you said, it just depends on how conservative you want to be, okay? Conservative you want to be. All right. Look at the 5-minute on nat gas and yes, okay. So we'll come down and we'll add a 5-minute chart. All right. Moving up, same way. All right. Same wave. So you've got pretty decent alignment throughout. Right? So there we go. Right? There we go. Okay. Drops Tyrone some sevens in the chat for calling out that nat gas. That was fun. It's fun to work out. All right. Appreciate you. There we go. All right. So that is natural gas, right? So maybe add that one to your portfolio trade. Okay. Fundamentally driven, right? You might not like the way your oil is going right now, right? Technically. So maybe find something else, right? Okay. Find another commodity to trade. You take the same approach, right? Read your fundamentals. And set up your charts. Okay. So here we are, right, on oil, right, starting to climb. I took my eyes off this one. That hit the zone. It's moving pretty good. It's gonna hit a 382 target. It's on its way. Okay. So I guess let's see what happens, right? So we got some levels coming in here. All right. So we know that that's a level. But then ultimately we've got this daily level of 77.61 on oil. All right, so we're making a run. What's the latest on that? Right. Notice advance 75.5 on Friday, growing optimism that the U.S. Federal Reserve could still lower bar. Everybody's still hoping on lower borrowing costs. She spurred a rally in risk assets. Those bets came on the heels of U.S. jobs data. European Central Bank cut for European Central Bank in 5 years. Investors now look ahead at the monthly U.S. jobs report. This is what I'm looking for. Still, oil prices are on track to decline for the third straight week as the latest OPEC decision raised concerns over possible supply surplus. OPEC agreed on Sunday to extend most of the supply cuts into 2025, but announced plans to gradually phase out some voluntary output cuts from 8 member countries. So let's see what happens once this runs to a high price. It might turn back over, right? So if we get above that 76.15, we head to 77.61. See if we continue the downtrend from there. Any questions on oil?
Oh,
No. All right. So you're in at 73.67. So you're getting paid, Joy. Great job. Put some sevens in the chat for Joy. All right.
Joy puts in work on oil, bro.
I see that. I see that. Been doing it for a while. And so we're moving up now. Lately, it's been making lower lows and lower highs, right? So we're correcting right now. So if you've got, you know, with an oversupply, okay, if you end up with an oversupply, right, that could drive the prices down. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. All right. All right. Any questions on anything that we covered today?
hi, Benny.
Yes,
Hi.
sir.
Yeah, just a quick question on the issue of pips and units. When trading commodities mostly, and the pips are
Mhm.
measured in units, and the currencies in pips. And my question is, how do you correlate the units with the
Oh, the exchange.
pips?
So typically I'll go to a we'll have to post it. I typically will go to like a calculator, but we should probably we've got to get to that during one of the sessions, just go over it. So maybe let me try to design something for you, Jeremy, so we can spend time doing a session going over that. It's a great question. But there's so we need to know it. But then there's also calculators out there that makes it easy for you to conversion calculators. That can make your life a lot easier because you're trying to make that conversion when you're setting up. What you using MetaTrader?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna note something on that. So we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll get it covered for you. Good question. Appreciate it. Ryan, anything before we close things out?
My bad, couldn't get to me, but no, sir. Great session, man. Great session. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody showing up.
All right. Hey, everybody, let's enjoy our Friday. We'll be back, right, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for the Forex Weekly Ritual. Let's see what happens as a result of the non-farm payroll data and employment data that's coming out today for the U.S. and Canada. Everybody, have a great day.
Bye, Benny.
Bye.
On the phone, it's in the kitchen.